Hey everyone, and welcome to Ink Spotlights from Comix Wellspring. This is the series where we shine the spotlight on immensely talented creators who print with us. Today, we're joined by Mario Martinez and William Keops Ibanez to talk about some of their books, their projects, their journey, and a little more. Welcome to the show, guys. It's so good to see you again, William. And Mario, it's so awesome to meet you finally, just knowing your work in general.
Great to meet you also.
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, tell us about your book, Codex of the Jaguar.
Will, I don't know if you want to...
You can take this one.
Well, the Codex of the Jaguar is what we're thinking is going to be a limited series where it follows a young warrior in kind of a post-apocalyptic world where, climate change has kind of ruined everything. And so as a way of people kind of surviving, they've returned to the old like Aztec religions of sacrifice, ritualistic warfare, and things like that. And the first chunk of our series is going to follow basically this warrior through what's known as a flower war, which is kind of like that war that they would capture slaves for sacrifice and things in ancient Aztec culture.
I love that.
But obviously kind of with a more futuristic twist to it. It's kind of like that retro-futurism.
I love that, dude. I got to interview you, William, like a few months ago for one of the first Inspired Ink episodes, and we got to hear a lot about that and a lot of the journey too. And I'm really curious, like, what like drew you to like this new dystopian future? Like, what really, you mentioned climate change. Are you guys very intense on like focusing on that and like trying to show the consequences of the future? Where did some of this come from?
I think for me, it was kind of like just trying to capture the anxieties of like the current generation. And like, I think that's something that's very timely right now. And my original idea was to kind of have this flower war be fought between punks, ska, oi, and I think goths. That was the original plan.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
originally what it was.
That music's very timely. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to tie all the anxieties that some of these music genres talk about and try to kind of work with something there. But I'm not a writer, like this was all just stuff in my sketchbook. And that's when I think me and Mario had already worked together before on some covers for his novels. And we kind of talked this idea and went back and forth. And I think he kind of created this massive, like, world building that I think is pretty impressive. I don't know, Mario, I don't know if you want to take it from here.
No, thanks. Well, I mean, initially, truth be told, I've known Will for 20-something years. I mean, we kind of ran in the same circles when we were in high school, kids up to no good at, local hardcore shows and things like that. But I always knew he had a talent for, artistry. I know he went to school for it. And years ago, I wrote a book called Neo Laredo that was, I kind of describe it like imagine Akira, but on the border. And it was a real labor of love. It was, the city I'm from doesn't really have anything written about it other than, I think, Larry McMurtry's Streets of Laredo, but he's not even from here. And so one of the things I wanted to incorporate was I wanted to make it as local as possible. And so I couldn't think of a better artist than Will. I had seen his Blazing Quantum comics before. I'd seen his sketches before, so I knew he was talented. So we worked together on that cover, and then, I don't know, a few months later, he sent me an email like, hey, I was thinking of maybe doing this kind of, more traditional comic book style. And he kind of wanted to offer me the idea for the story first. He said, this is kind of what I'm thinking of. If you want to try it, let's go for it. If not, I can find somebody else. And I said, sign me up. Let's do this. I'd never written a comic before, but I really enjoyed the collaboration because I know Will's trying to be modest by saying, I created a lot of it. This was very much a team effort. If I came up with a character that had a direction, I ran it by Will. We bounced ideas off of each other. So I maybe will say I came up with characters, but I kind of put them in a world that Will set up for me. So I'll say it that way.
I have to say this is my first comic book working with a writer, because before this, like Blazing Quantum was just me, and like that wasn't even writing. It was just like sketching like panels in the book and then adding the bubbles. But this is my first time working off of somebody's script, and like Mario's scripts are like very thorough and like very detailed. So a lot of the like for me, it was a challenge. It was like an engaging challenge because there was a lot of like, well, how can I condense this script down 24 pages, and then from 24 pages, each is going to be an issue. So there was like, I think for a good year and a half, right, Mario? Like we were like connecting via Zoom like every Sunday,
Mhm.
which
Just
like,
about.
yeah, like going back and forth and trying to really kind of coalesce this into like a working storyline. So right now we're on issue 3 right now, and I'm breaking
Mhm.
down the plot for that and getting ready for that one. But most the first 6 issues have already been written. They're scripted and everything. It's just I'm kind of very slow with the drawing, because that's usually we want it to look good and all that. But it's coming along. I actually have the thumbnails right here. But
Yeah,
this is
I
how I
mean,
work. I take the script and like I break stuff down. Um,
Sick.
and and from there, before that, like this is just the script for issue
Ooh.
3. And so as I'm reading, like I start breaking stuff down into little thumbnails and stuff. So like it's definitely like an engaging challenge. And like I would say this is probably like I would like to say our like the most professional like work we've created, compared to my previous stuff where I was just alone. Like I think this is probably like you always want your current work to be the best
uh-huh.
one, right? And like I feel like this is my best work so
Oh,
far,
that's so
right?
exciting. That's so, and I mean, honestly, you could see the labor of love when you open these pages too, just to show people some interiors right now. My cat is moving my camera. I'm so sorry. Um, but that was great. Thank you, Booby. Um, but yeah, let me fix this, dude. Sorry. But yeah, no, this book is such a phenomenal like creation through and through. Like what you guys are doing and the message you send, and honestly, like you're so lucky to be working with someone like William. As to the writing as well, I think it all fits and it's all like you guys are a phenomenal team. So where can people find your work? Where can people come across it and like purchase it and support you guys?
So if you go to my Instagram, it's at Kiops Ibanez, and you can go to the link right there. It's on my profile under the profile link, and it'll take you to my web store. And I also have my website, kiopsibanez.com. You can see some of my online comics and some of my illustrations there. And then from there, you can also reach my Tumblr and my Instagram.
Awesome. And before we even sign off here, sorry, my camera is just all whacked because of my cat now. Uh,
No, no
um,
worries.
No worries at all.
Mario, I've heard it from William before as well, but what got you to start creating in general?
I mean, I've been a reader for a very long time. In high school, I'd rather read a book than listen in class. And, for years and years, I was just consuming things. But honestly, he was an old professor of mine. I ran into him and told him a story about summer vacation. He said, that'd make a good story and you should write it. I did, and it was probably the worst thing I've ever written. But I got the urge to continue. Something about it. I wanted to like wrestle with the idea of writing stories, and yeah, 20 years later, I mean, here we are. Um, but no, I mean, what really drives me to do it, I think, is what drives most artists to do it. It's you're kind of yearning to see something that you haven't found yet, and so instead of just yearning for it, I just decided, well, let me make the things that I want to see. I mean, speaking of like the border, Laredo's not a very artistic city when it comes to like literature and it comes to writing and things like that. And I remember growing up, and there was nobody I could look at and say, "Oh, well, this is somebody from my community that tells stories about my community or the people there." And so, instead of waiting around, let me just go ahead and do it. I've taught writing here for a very long time, so hopefully fostered some of the next generation. But mainly, it was just this desire to kind of create something that I hadn't seen before. And I'm sure Will could tell you, there's something about going from, oh, it's just an idea in your head, to actually manifesting it, creating it, and then completing kind of that project. I mean, like I told Will with this one that we're working on, I mean, I've written novels and poems and short stories. I've written kind of everything there is to write. I'd never written a comic book before. I'd never collaborated with somebody where it was like, well, I need to kind of tame some of the things that I do because, well, the audience is, we have to consider them and things like that. And just, it was very interesting to do because, again, I think that these are important stories, not just in like the content that they have, but mainly for people like from the communities that we come from. I can't tell you how many times I go present to people and they are shocked that, oh, this was created where I'm from here in this
Oh,
city. And
yeah,
it's, it's kind of sad that that's the mentality that they have. But hey, if I got to be the first one to show them, I'll gladly do it.
Well, that's what got my attention so much about it when I first heard about William in general was just like, okay, we have a Texan. I'm from Texas. I'm from El Paso, Texas. But it's also, we have this Hispanic heritage in the background. I grew up in a border city as well, and just so many connections there. And I even thought like, I really hadn't heard that many stories about Laredo like in general, and it's even there's even parts of like El Paso where Laredo's referenced and whatnot too. So like knowing that this was like the origin from it got me so interested in what you guys are doing and so intrigued about the outcome. I'm so excited for the next book you guys are going to put out. I love what you guys have done so far in both books that I have. It's remarkable stuff. It's great storytelling and phenomenal art too.
Really is.
But do you guys have any events you guys want to bring up that might be upcoming in the next couple months or anything?
Right now, I have the Kingston Comic Book Expo that's going to be in April, and I'm kind of waiting to hear back from JCAB, which is in Jersey City. I think that's in February, and that's hosted by oh my God, Dance Magazine is the one that's hosting that. But that's kind of like a zine fair comic book art show. But that's in Jersey City coming up in February.
Love it. How awesome. So we'll definitely link William's Inspired Ink interview that we did here. We did a long form interview for those who don't know with William a few months back. And Mario, we got to get you on Inspired Ink to talk about more of your journey, talk about this book a bit more and your other projects and your other writing. And then William, we got to get you on Spilled Ink because you always hang out with us. So we got to get you on camera.
I'll definitely be glad to be drawing along any of these days. You let me know.
I love it. Cool to hear. Guys, thank you so much for stepping in the spotlight today and telling us a little bit about your journey. We'll link everything here down in the description, and that way people can follow you guys, check out your work, support you, and then check out the other episode that William was on as well. I'm so excited and happy for you guys, and keep me posted on issue 3 because I'm definitely waiting for it.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
I appreciate it.
Thank you guys.